What do you make of the current dating scene for men and women, and why do you think it's being demonized in some ways? I think that there is an anti-dating culture at the moment.
Okay.
I think that men and women are being encouraged to be treated as equals. As adversaries, not as equals.
Right. I think it's transactional today. I think it's easy today. I think the swipe right community it's Friday night, 11 o'clock. Let me swipe right. I'm going to use 20. Someone's going to get back to me if they swipe right. And typically I would go after an 8.5, 9, but it's Friday night. I'm going to go do a 6.5, 7. No one's going to know. I'm going to invite her back to my place. She knows if she's on Tinder. I'm not on Bumble, whatever these dating apps are. And so it's transactional, strategic. No one's going to know. And literally, not a lot of people are going to know. You can really run through 20, 40, 50, 100 nowadays, and it's not a big deal. Okay. So what does that do? Whatever's too easy to come, you devalue it. You don't value it that highly. My era, you had to court. You had to prospect. You had to have scripts. You had to build relationship. You had to follow up. We didn't have these types of things to do. We had MySpace. The last time I was single, there was MySpace. Okay. I DM'd my wife on MySpace. My wife and I knew each other for 5.5 years. Eventually, we're in Palm Springs for the first time. She's single. I'm single. Ever. For 5.5 years, we're both single. And, we go on a date. First date, P.F. Chang's, December 29 of 2007. This is when P.F. Chang's used to be good, when they had their noodle soup. They don't have it anymore. Used to be, they took that away. Phenomenal item on the menu. I'm convinced they fell apart after that. So anyways, we go to P.F. Chang's. By the way, if you're watching, bring it back. It was actually a very good item on the menu. So we go on a date. There's magic. She's smiling. I'm smiling. The smile that's kind of like, I'm happy to see you. And then it's midnight. We're the last people left at P.F. Chang's. Waiter comes up to me and he says, "What's going on?" I said, "My wife wants to file a divorce. She doesn't want to be with me anymore." So, "Your wife? Why?" "Yeah, I come from a different religious background and her family's convinced we got to split up." And he has no clue. We're not married. We're just on our first date. He sits down for 15 minutes convincing her to stay with me. If you love him, stay with him. It was a beautiful, scene that we have. We go in the car. She goes home. The next day I take her. We go do stairs in Santa Monica. We go to church. We go to Earth Cafe in Santa Monica. Then we go to Borders. I buy her a book on our second date called 101 Questions to Ask Before You Get Engaged on Our Second Date by Norman Wright. She's like, "What's this?" I said, "I'm not looking for a girlfriend. I'm looking for a wife." I'm 28 at the time. I said, "I know exactly what I want. I've already done this exercise with 3 other girls. If you want to go through it, great. You need to answer the questions. Let's meet up when you're ready and let's go through it." Week later, 6 hours at her place, one by one, each question we go through. I said, "This is somebody I can date." And by the way, it's ugly because you got to talk about everything in a book. So today, that's not it anymore. Today, it's too risky. Today, you don't have access to that anymore. Today, percentages are coming out where marriages from dating sites have the least chance of working out versus marriages where you meet somebody through referral, where you say, "Pat, I've known Mary for 7 years. I think you and her should talk. Now, I don't know what's going to happen. Let me set you guys up. Let's take our girls and do a double date." Cool. Hey, I kind of like her. But you're telling me 7 years. I've only seen her be with one guy, Larry, 5 years. He was an asshole. Then she's been with this other guy 2 years, but she's single now. Now I have some kind of a history I'm dealing with, right? So it is a different climate. Now, with kids, it's a different story on how you raise them. My 10-year-old son, he's had a girlfriend since he was 5 years old, literally at a birthday party at 5 years old. He's making out with this other girl at this Dave and Buster's. I'm like, "Babe, what is going on?" His mom is asking me, "Our kids are kissing." I said, "Well, I got a son. You got a daughter. You may want to stop your daughter, but I'm not going to stop my son." And so she's like, "Well, guys, no, stop. They don't even know what's going on." So you need to have the conversation with kids early today. I remember having a conversation with my boys when they were 6 and 5 in the shower, and I said, "Okay, we need to have this conversation together. What's that?" "Okay, stand up. That's your dangling. That's his dangling. This is my dangling. Only you get to play with your dangling. One day, you're going to find a girl that's going to play with your dangling. Till then, God gave you that dangling for only you to play with your dangling." Now, you got to see how they're looking at me, by the way. They're looking at me like this, and my wife leaves quickly. She's like, "Babe, this is unconscious. Babe, you can leave." So we have that conversation. I think you need to have the conversation today because most parents are Middle Eastern. They don't have those types of conversations. No one's talking about sex and condoms and all this kind of stuff. You need to start early. But the dating scene today, very, very different than what it was when I was single. If I wanted to go date today and find a wife, my approach would be very different than what most people are doing today.